Welcome, dear viewers, to a new episode of Dialogue Horizon. In this episode of Dialogue Horizon, we are going to cover three subjects. The first and the most important is the celebration of the ratification and the arrival of the leaders of the peacemakers of Juba Agreement. We will cover this as much as possible, and the other part of the episode will be about the conflict in Ethiopia and its effect on security and safety of Sudan. The third is the presidential elections in America. I'm happy to host or to have with me this episode our friend Dr. Tahir Faki. He's known to you and he's the spokesman, Ferris is the spokesman for the advanced delegation of the implementation of the peace agreement. Plus, he is also the chairman of the Legislative Assembly of the GEM, Justice and Equality Movement. Also, we'll have our friend Dr. Sammani Hanoun. He's an economist and social studies, and he's in the University of Ahfad and other universities as part-timer. So we'll try to cover this subject with both of you as much as we can. So we start. Let's start by Dr. Sammani Ferris. About the event of Sunday. Sunday is supposed to be a landmark, a benchmark on the history of the country of Sudan, because it will witness the arrival of the leaders of the signatories of the Revolutionary Front, who were at war for almost 3 decades or 2.5 decades. They will be back on Sunday morning, and the government is preparing a respectable celebration for them at the Khartoum here when they arrive. Can you tell us about the role of the masses, the role of the people on the process of peace, the success of the peace? What is the role of the people? Now these are the leaders are coming. They are coming, and definitely they'll be accompanied by some of the leaders. We will ask this Dr. Tahir Al-Faqih later, but your opinion, Dr. Sammani Hanoun, about the role of the people of Sudan on the success of the peace agreement.
First of all, thanks to Sudan TV and especially to Dialogue Horizon for this special moment to share discussion on one of the very hot issues today in Sudan. Celebrating peace in North Sudan, especially in Khartoum. I think this is a national event, and we expect more involvement for masses of peoples everywhere in Sudan to celebrate this special national event. Sudanese people suffer from war since 1959, and up to now they suffer from the consequences of war in different parts of country. I think this national event should be a hot issue for every Sudani, whether inside, outside, and the people should involve in celebrating the peace. Especially, we are going to stop the war, and needless to repeat the negative consequences of war, to what extent war damaged our country, and how we devoted or directed the huge budget to the war. So I think now or tomorrow, Sunday, is a very historical day in Sudan, and people start a new era of peace, era of development, era of more aspirations and hope for masses of Sudanese people who suffer from war in different parts of countries. I think all Sudanese people by default, they require to share these very bright events, and we need at least to express our feeling towards peace by way or another. Now what I have seen inside in the street of Khartoum and different people, it is a very humble expressions of celebrating peace. People, they have to involve in the peace. They celebrate the peace. At least we stop the war, we stop killing Sudanese people everywhere. And I think this is a very valuable gains for all Sudanese people everywhere. Now the climate of the celebrations is a little bit humble. We cannot expect the participation, like what happened during the visit of Dr. John Garang to Sudan. So I think the celebrations will be to some extent humble, not similar to that of Dr. John, because now we don't have enough signs of peoples in the street where that they give you the feelings of they are celebrating the peace. So I think we need more participations of the people everywhere in part of Sudan. Any Sudani will benefit from the peace, and by way or another. So in economic, in political life, in social life, in cultural life, in the different aspects of life, we benefit from the peace in Sudan.
Okay, Dr. Samani, this is very good. Dr. Tahir Faki, Dr. Samani raised a very important remark. I myself, I noticed that you are now only 48 hours from the celebration, which was supposed as the government officially announced that Sunday will be a public holiday on the whole country. So, but I myself, I share Dr. Samani has the same idea that the preparations and the warmness of the big event is not enough. Some people or the government is not doing enough. This is what Dr. Samani said. So can you tell us on your answer to the role of the people, the population, on the success of the peace? On that answer, then you accompany your feeling about the preparation for the celebration of Sunday.
So, thank you very much. May I say that I'm indebted to be in this program, which is widely popular, and it actually discusses so many issues that are hot to the Sudanese people. And the arrival of the leaders of the movements is an event that should not be seen and taken easily. The country has been at war for a long time, and now after the peace agreement that's been settled on the 3rd of October in Juba, that had opened a new chapter for the Sudanese people. It is time for the Sudan to benefit and to enjoy the dividends of peace. So the issue now is the Sudanese people should celebrate this in masses, going out the streets everywhere, chanting, seeing these people, celebrating it, and express their desire for a peaceful settlement of the Sudanese problem. The issue has been discussed, and this agreement actually looked and embraced all the issues that has been causing the Sudanese problem, addressed the 8 protocols, and those 8 protocols that have hampered the progress of the Sudanese people, and it hampered its economics, and it hampered its progress. So the issue now is, why is it in the north, in Sudan here, it is not as been in the south? We thank the people of the southern Sudan. They actually worked very hard to achieve this agreement, and as well they put all efforts a week or 2 before the signature of the peace agreement. There were placards, there were posters, there were celebrations. Every street in Juba was showing you there was something happening, something that the people would love to see. And when the day came, the people came in masses. It was a big celebration. As we see now, if you go the streets, if you go around, there is no signs of a celebration that is only 48 hours to come. So I don't understand, how is it a time that has been the time that has been allocated and been known that these people will be coming on the 15th. There are 2 weeks before. Yes, only yesterday they are hurrying to provide some financial support, and actually this financial support is so meager that it does not count to a celebration of such an event. So I personally would see that as if there is some conspiracy, or there are some people who are not happy about the peace process, and they want to show that this process that should be actually a national consensus for peace, it is now being derailed, and it is now being hampered and reduced to a very meager thing, which is not right. So the Sudanese people, even though the government has not shown that stamina for having this event, but I hope that the people would come in masses. People say it is a coronavirus, but if you look at a few weeks ago, when people arrived from Juba, there were celebrations on the street. People can use the distances, can use the mask, but it should not be reduced to a small issue that people who are against peace will see and will say that this is not a national consensus in support of peace.
Yeah, and especially it seems that some presidents will attend this celebration. At least maybe Salva Kiir of South Sudan.
Yeah, we are expecting President Salva Kiir and also President Idris Deby of Chad. Chad played a very big role all through the years, had been accommodated 300,000 of the refugees on its borders, and it shared everything with our people in those camps. And also the South has paid a lot to achieve this peace process, even though the South is so short of money, and it has its own economic problems.
Okay, this is very alarming actually, and now still we have time, but it's important because if you put something on the streets, you at least you show that many people they are not fully aware of the peace process or the effect of the peace or on the people themselves. Not only the signatories, it will definitely affect the whole population of the country. On this issue, let us go, Dr. Sammani, on a very important issue, which is in a way related to this. So having heard Dr. Tahir al-Faki that the government is not doing enough, as if there is somebody is not happy about the peace itself or the whole thing, coupled with the financial situation of the country, which is the backbone of the success of this agreement. The backbone is the economy,
Finance, yeah.
money. Can you elaborate on this issue of the shortage of money, coupled together with the
I think not
humble?
not doing enough. I think this is appropriate for title for government. Everywhere people they are complaining, not doing enough, not doing enough in fuel, not doing enough in transport, not doing enough in different aspects of life. I think it is very evident now the contributions of the government, and especially the social media and others costless aspects of life, should be more effective than what is happening now. So they give more chance to social media to elaborate on the pieces, to make dialogue, to make discussion, to make the media in the state, they should share the events. The government can lead without paying money, I think. This is only direction to the people and instructions to the different institutions should involve in peace by way or another. Universities, educations, institutions can involve also in the peace to repeat the activities relating to the peace. So a government can influence the events by many means, not only finance. Yes, it is true, finance is a big challenge for all Sudanese people, and we do appreciate that the constraint, the financial constraint in the government today, the lack of money everywhere in the central bank and Ministry of Finance, yeah, we do appreciate the position, but I think celebrating peace can be more by the popular effort also, or by just instruction to the stakeholders in the community can involve in this matter by way or another. Definitely, the lack of finance, enough to finance these events, represent actually a big challenge. And this is actually what we said every episode. We used to repeat that the financial challenge will stand a big challenge to the peace process as a whole, even in the future. So now we start with these humble celebrations for very historical events in Sudan because of lack of finance. And we do appreciate the positions of government, but the individuals, the community can involve also in this matter, and they can celebrate, even they give signs of celebrating the peace, because all families, all Sudanese communities suffer from very long war. Now we are moving to stop the war in the country. So I think by all means, this is a very great event, and we need to share it, even by articles in media, discussions, and give more idea to start a new air of peace, air of building Sudan, air of looking brightly for the future, giving these values to the community. But I think still the lack of money and the financial constraints will stand the big challenge facing the whole peace process.
The whole peace process.
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Tahir. Yes, we know that it's not only about money. Maybe it is talking about others. I like the media, the official media of the country. They should do more than what is done so far about this. Not only a holiday, public holiday on the Sudan, but people should be mobilized by the media. I think they should also have been mobilized. The private sector, some important figures in the private sector played a very important role in the revolution when they financed, actually, they financed millions of people staging the sit-in around the army headquarters for almost 2 months. This was a very expensive thing to host about how many millions, 1 or 2 million for 60 days. This is done by private sector. I think the government could have also approached these private sectors to at least to give this event its weight. So this, I wanted to ask you, Dr. Tahir, because you are part and parcel of the whole process, and now it seems that you are disappointed to a great notice. Not only you personally, but definitely this disappointment will be transferred to the whole people or signatories when they come and see that people in the north or people in Khartoum are not as enthusiastic as they are supposed to be. So this will definitely have, it will widen the gap. There is already a gap. Even in the forces of freedom of forces, even in the incubator itself, there are gaps. Now this will widen this gap. So how can you talk about this?
Yeah, may I just say that the main obstacle to an impediment to the implementation of the peace agreement is not financial at all. The first issue, the first failure is failure of ownership of this agreement to the people on the ground. And this depends on not only on finance, it depends on how you can use simple things. As my colleague here said, you don't have to have too much money to do it, but you have to have the will of doing it. And we have seen that, I personally have seen that now, looking at the Sovereign Council, especially the military side, and especially on General Muhammad Hamdan Daglo, he is honest, he is sincere, he wants this to succeed, he wants it to show and to become a consensus for peace. Unfortunately, the other civilian side have not shown that enthusiasm. And as a result, they have been delaying actions that would hasten and promote this process to become successful. The minister of finance till 2 days ago did not approve the finance of the whole matter. What money she has put forward is meager. It's just about $33,000. This is not money to initiate and to generate mass movement of people to come and celebrate this activity. And even that money is not available. They should be transporting people from the regions. People are coming. They want to come and celebrate and contribute to this day. But the financial side has not been honored. So it seems to me there is some sort of conspiracy. I have to say that straightforward. It seems to be there is some conspiracy to fail that. And failing this means they want to fail those who have done the hard work and made this agreement possible. So we are going to go on Sunday, but if you look at it now, as I said, there's no signs at all, and this is a great failure. The international community will look and want to see that people have enjoyed the peace agreement and the peace process, but when it sees this mass movement of people coming to support it failed, then they will think, oh, what is this happening to these Sudanese people? They are not celebrating it, they are not enjoying it, they are not embracing it. So it is a failure. It is a failure that we have to admit.
So this is very, 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 definitely something very serious, and it will definitely, it had its
implications,
effect on down the road. I can see that this will have an effect which will widen the gap, as I said, which can, I think this must be remedied, must be something must be done in the coming few hours, because we have to show the people the coming celebrating with us. They want to see the people rejoicing.
We have to do some scenario analysis about this special event. The good scenario that masses of people can join the events, and this is what we expect. The bad scenario, that the attendance will be very poor from the different parts of country. So that will send very negative message to the international community, to all stakeholders in the peace process, actually.
So this is very important. We have to do something about it.
This is why we invite all people to join.
Although it's a little bit, it seems that a little bit, I can say it's late.
Yeah.
But maybe not too late, but late, because we have holidays today, tomorrow, until the coming of these leaders.
Yeah.
So we hope that people will come and join, or somebody will. It seems that nobody is preparing something for these people till now, for the arrival of people from, because by now they should have come. By now they should have been already in Khartoum, because you know the transportation and coming from different parts of, especially from Darfur.
Yeah, engineering. This will be very disappointing, even to the participants of the peace process.
That's why we are using this podium to ask people to come in masses. Please come and join and celebrate and show that you are eager for peace and you are supporting the peace process. If you are not coming, or you have been trapped or tricked by peace spoilers, then this is not going to be good for you, for the country, and for our future children.
So it seems that you are it's a bad start anyhow. But also, Dr. Tahir, there is some criticism. From the peace brokers, like some of the south. They are talking about the slowness, the implementation is not following the matrices which set for the implementation, everything. Nobody is enthusiastic in this area, and it seems that the whole process is delayed. Is it part of this conspiracy, as you say?
You see, there are articles that should have been done and signed immediately. The fairest thing was the general amnesty. At the time of the signing of the peace agreement, on the other side, there should be signing of general amnesty, and that would have paved the way for the leaders to come. Unfortunately, it was only signed 2 days ago. Look, from the 3rd of October, the provision of the agreement says it has to be signed on the same day. And look how long
more
it
than
took.
1 month.
More than 1 month. So that is the fairest delay. And people would, the general people would say that why the leaders did not come. They wouldn't come because the fairest thing that should have been done was signing the general amnesty. That was not done, and so many others. After a week after signing the agreement, they should be choosing of the three leaders who will join the Sovereign Council. Till today, it has not been done. And a week after that, the 5 people should join the ministries. It's not been done. So many things have been delayed, or have been neglected, or have been omitted. But this is not a good sign. When you sign an agreement, you have to honor the timetable.
To abide by the timetable is very important.
And this has not been done. So the international community will look and see that these people are not serious. So this is a big issue.
So this is very alarming. Can you elaborate? You want to say something?
Yeah, definitely. And I think
not good.
it is in the position of Sudan today, it is natural to face some hurdles and some challenges, especially in the peace. Peace is a very complex process with a multidimensional process. The delay, I think in this position, especially, I accept, because you know that Sudan is facing very tight conditions today. It is not natural. So facing the delay, for example, to fulfill the terms of the matrices, I think this is natural, because we can step by step, we go forward. Now we have to just comment on this failure, and we have also to do our best to commit it to the terms of agreement, because delaying the agreement or the matrices can result in negative consequences in the futures, and also complicate the future of the peace process in Sudan, because other stakeholders, and especially foreigners who involved by way or another in the peace process, now they are watching the Sudanese people, what they are doing actually. And they can also judge on whether people, they are genius about the peace or not, because people, they have to celebrate, they have to join, they have to stick to the matrices that are signed by the government and by the other parties in the peace process. So delaying this will send very negative signal to the all stakeholders, whether international community or even locally, and people will feel very reluctant about the peace process, and they are very more doubts about the future
Of
of
the
the peace
success of
process.
future of process. Yes, but Dr. Tahir Fakir said about the appointment, some of the delays mostly seem that mostly by the side of the government, from the side of the ruling system, the whole system. First, the amnesty was signed only two days ago, whereas it should have been done or signed one month back. But the delay in the part of it is from the signatories themselves, because they have to select the 3 members of the Supreme Council, and they have to select the Council of Ministers, the cabinet. So from your part, you did not do this. The other part of the government also is not as I said, not doing enough, because they have to do something about the government itself. Are they going to dissolve the whole government, or they will infuse or inject the new members by enlarging the Council of Ministers? Till now, this issue is not resolved. Some people are calling for starting from zero, dissolve the government and dissolve everything and start all over again. So, what are the reasons for the delay in your mind?
It's bi-directional, and part of which is by the government, and part of which is also, I have to admit that it's been part of the SRF. For the for choosing the members, the Sovereign Council and the cabinet also have to have a role. If there is if we are delaying this process, they have to push. And I had been a meeting in the presidential palace where General Himeti spoke that we should implement the agreement. If we implement the agreement, we will have the chance to tell the people that we are honest, we are genuine about what we have agreed to. But if we are delaying things, people internally and internationally will say that we are not abiding by the agreement. So for choosing five ministers, the cabinet or Hamdok has not come out with anything to say that this ministry is so and so. It goes to whoever is, and some proposals. So still it's outstanding. The more we stay, the more it becomes delayed. And I hope that from this podium, people on the Sovereign Council and on the ministerial side will look, and also from the FFC will say that enough is enough. Let us start and implement the agreement. By then, we will have some stability for the country to go ahead.
Okay, let us okay. The message is clear. Let us talk in general about the regions. Now, it's good that the country is going back to the old regions. Yeah. 6 regions, plus the 2 special regions, South Kordofan and Blue Nile, because they have some special arrangements in all agreements. Actually, since the CPA, the first agreement of the Comprehensive Peace Agreement of the Vaisha, they gave these 2 areas a special consideration. So it's only fair that they have 2 different regions, so that we'll have 8 regions instead of the old 6 regions. Okay, in some areas like Darfur in population, it is the most populous region in Sudan after Khartoum, of course. Khartoum is almost 12-15 million people are in Khartoum, and this is because of the bad development plans and unequal planning on the different parts of the country. So all services, all schools, universities, hospitals, everything in Khartoum. So people, they came and they dwelled in Khartoum and they stayed in Khartoum. Actually, that's why the population of Khartoum is swelled to about almost 1/3 of the population of the country. But having said that, Darfur itself is number 2 populous people. Citizen. Area-wise, resources, minerals, everything Darfur is very special. Will this one region be a good idea for Darfur with all its diversities in different aspects?
Although federal system is the ideal destination for most of Sudanese people for very long history, most of the national movement demand and ask for federal system, but it is double-sided effect. It has double-sided effects. One is positive, that we give more power to the local people, share power and share the also even development, as you mentioned. But the other side of the story, that will create some practical challenge to the federal government. In what way? Nominating the governance of this region actually represent a practical challenge. How people, they consensus about one leader, and people, they used for a very long time during the old regime, the what we call they have different states within one regions, and now again you are going to create one region that will make resistance by the local people. because people, they used to nominate their local governors and also to share the power. So they widen the scope of power sharing in these regions, and now you are going to reduce it. People will revolt, and people will reject that to be in one regions. Definitely, that one of the challenge that will face the nominations of governors for these regions. This is why always I recommend the power sharing will be at the federal level, more appropriate for the agreement, and that will also reduce the conflict with these areas, especially the war-affected areas, and sometimes we call it sensitive regions, like Darfur, like Blue Nile, like the South Kordofan. These regions suffer from long war. We don't like, again, to go back to the same block. So solving the problem, they should pay special attention to this region. Especially, we can learn from the eastern regions and how people, they revolt against the nominations of the governance of the Kassala. Yeah. So we can learn from this lesson, and we try to support the peace by avoiding these issues and not create more challenges in this region, especially in the war-affected regions like Darfur, like Blue Nile, like South Kordofan. So we need to give a special consideration when we appoint the governance of these regions, and we have to pay and to hear the counter opinions of the local peoples. Also, we have to consider in order not to go back and we can harm the peace process by the adverse movement. So we need to consider this and make a wide dialogue among the peoples in order to involve and to see their directions and how they deal with the new federal system. But federal system, I think, after mentioned several times, that most appropriate to the Sudanese peoples and can accelerate the development and also can enhance the even development among the different regions of the country. So people can hunt a lot of advantage from the federal system.
Okay, Dr. Tahir Faki.
Yeah,
Okay, let us apart. Yes, I will let you elaborate on what he said or add to what he said, but also please include in your answers that there are some critics, some people, they believe that the whole package, the whole agreement is prejudiced or biased to certain regions or certain people. There is some criticism. So in the 8th protocol, so this is very important to elaborate on that. It is not tailored actually to a certain region or to a certain faction or to a certain tribe. So this is most important to me and to the viewers.
yeah. The issue of biasing, I don't think it is fair to say that there is bias. If you look at what is being given to Darfur and comparing that with the effect of the war and compare it with the region in the north, it must be seen that and not only believed, it must be accepted that those who have suffered deprivation of education, health provision, low or absolutely no infrastructure, and all the sufferings of being being homeless and suffer so much that they have been displaced from their homes and houses burned and they have nothing. So you cannot compare those with those who have not been subject to such an event. And it is only in the provisions of the agreement that those who have suffered, they should be compensated, and this compensation is not just out of no order. It is comparative to what they have been suffering of, and it is for a period that they will reach a situation to level with the others. After that, everybody will be treated the same. So there is no discrimination, and there is no bias in this agreement. As for the region, I agree with my friend that the federal system is what the people of Sudan want. It gives them a chance of ruling themselves, but I know there are some disadvantages. And one of the disadvantages is, if we look at what is happening in Ethiopia now, a region is trying to defy the whole federal system, and that may happen in Sudan. So we have to speculate that and to anticipate it in advance, and we would put some means of sorting this out before it happens.
Let me just to add some comment, if you don't mind, Dr. Tahir, that let us agree that all Sudan is marginalized. Or even if you visit Khartoum today, after long absence in England, and you see to what extent the street, the lighting, the whole country suffer from poverty, suffer from lack of income. If you visit the north, the east, you can get the same result. And I am talking very honestly, that some people in the war-affected area are far better than people in different parts of countries. Different parts of countries. Let us think together that the whole country suffer from very poor standard of living, very deteriorated standard of living, whether in the capital, in the east, in the north, in south, in Darfur. People in Darfur and other parts, they have a better standard of living because these are very rich regions with a lot of resources, and people, whether they are breeding cattle, whether they are farming, whether they have a better standard of living than other people in the East Sudan, for example.
They used to have.
Yeah. So let us think together. The development should take this philosophy that the whole country is suffering from lack of basic needs. Here in Khartoum, it is very clear and evident. If you go in the street, you will find out people go to the Omdurman, the city center and the town, live there, how people are suffering. Now, in order to give more conscience and people to support the agreement and not to be biased against any part of the country, people, they all should share the honor of building the new country, building the new Sudan. People who suffer from the poverty, people suffer from a very destitute standard of living, whether in the east, in the west, in the north, in the south. Let us all together work in order to build the even development in the country and realize a better standard of living for all people everywhere. Because the biasness comes from the agreement that this is, I think, one of the very secret behind why some people are reluctant about the peace, and even people are not encouraged to involve in the celebrating the peace. People, they think that this agreement is biased against some regions, and they give more favor to these countries, although other regions are suffer from the lack of basic needs. Visit the East Sudan. There are people suffering there, actually. In the far north of country, the people are suffering there. In the south, people everywhere in Sudan are suffering. And we lack we live in very deteriorated standard of living. Now, all the leaders who come in peace and our people everywhere in the country, we have to unite and we have to work together in order to build our country. Our country suffer from lack of basic needs.
Let me interrupt you because one important, a very important factor said by Dr. Yes, I agree with you. All these regions are poor, are poverty, but those therefore they are more hard hit by displacement.
Yes.
IDPs internally displaced, and some of them are refugees. They lost their means of subsistence. They used to subsist on agriculture, on animal resources. They were deprived of this. So what is he saying? That let us
level them,
when they are leveled with the others, the agreement will not contradict any equitable sharing of power and wealth in any part of the regions. But
just one second is what he said has been also addressed in the agreement. Khartoum has been addressed in the agreement as one of the marginalized area. So it is, because if you go around the periphery of Khartoum, you will see that people live in conditions, and most of these people who actually came from the periphery and lived poor standards of living. So we are not saying that there is bias towards one region towards the other, but the effect that has been too devastating on an area, we have to remedy it to a standard where we can level the whole.
This is only logical. This is logical. Okay, gentlemen, this is very good. I think we covered this issue thoroughly well, and we read all the concerns of this. We hope that on Sunday, big rallies will come and celebrate, and things will have a good positive effect on the leaders and the leaders of the neighboring countries who are coming. Let's go to the second part of this episode, which is Ethiopia. Ethiopia, as Dr. Tahir, he mentioned something that one of the regions is trying to get release of the central system. So we're not going to talk about what is happening, something internal. This is internal, and the way they are going to resolve it is something internal. We will not, and even the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, he doesn't want any intervention from anybody, even the African Union or from the neighboring countries. But what will be the effect for this is for both of you? What will be the effect of Sudan if this war it is protracted and continued, and it started, some of the reviews started to spill over to the borders? Dr. Sammani, what will be the effect?
This war, and I may excuse me, and I think we have to involve in the Ethiopian discourse, because Ethiopia is one of sister country to our country, and these are our people also, and we have to involve by way or another to express our feeling about what is happening. Actually, I am very sad to hear this news about Ethiopia. Ethiopia is passing into the right directions and became source of peace in Africa, and they achieved some exceptional achievement during very short course of time. Now, this is one of the dramatic failure of the Ethiopian people, so they get into war. All the people in Africa today, they are going ahead to the peace. Now we go back to the war block. Unfortunately, very sad news. Like, let us accept it and deal with the situation what is happening today. The expected consequences morely that the refugees will put more pressure on Sudan. Sudan is a neighboring country and definitely will be affected by all war activities inside Ethiopia, especially in the borderlines in the Tigray regions. And refugees will move to the East Sudan, which is by default suffer from very deteriorated standard of living there. So the international community and the UN should play more role in this area to support these vulnerable refugees in that area. And they should support, now I see part of them even in Khartoum. If you go to the UN in Emirates and Amarat Street, I think First Street, there are so many refugees there in front of the buildings of the UN in Khartoum. So the UN and the other refugees organization, they should support these people. Sudan suffer from lack of the financial resources that help them in order to back and to support these refugees in the country. So the economic tightness will be magnified as a result of the influxes of the migrants to the Sudan. And also other, some social problems also will arise in the country, especially in the regions that is suffer from political instability in Kassala and in the border regions. Yeah, in the, also the agricultural harvesting also will be affected in that regions. Okay. Many negative consequences will be generated.
Come out of this dispute.
Yeah,
Dr. Tahir Faki, now we are coming from a very important reconciliatory event in Juba and signing the peace agreement. Now something erupts in our neighboring country which will have effect on Sudan. From experience, what do you expect and what do you advise and what do you hope?
First of all, I am deeply sad to see that this is happening in Ethiopia, and as I always say, that Africa should prosper in peace, and now we have a situation where there is war. The effects of war, as we have lived it in Darfur and Kordofan and the Blue Nile and the south that has been separated, the effects of war is devastating. The big issue now is the influx of refugees from Ethiopia into Sudan. And this will generate hell of problems both to the people on both sides. The refugees will suffer as a result of being driven out of their homes, and the local people also will suffer because there will be mass effects of social discourse and other problems. So although we are not looking at the actual causes of what happened in Ethiopia, but we hope that this issue should be settled as quickly as possible, and hopefully that stability will prevail in Ethiopia. Prosperity in Ethiopia will be reflected on our side, and we hope and wish that Ethiopia is stable, and this event should not spill into the neighboring countries.
Okay, that's very good. And we have only about 3 minutes. We want to address the last issue in 1.5 minutes for each one of you about the election, the American election, President Trump and Biden. Now Biden is winning.
Yeah, definitely.
Is there any effect, good or positive effect on
I
the
am
winning?
not so optimistic about Biden because the history can repeat itself. So what actually happened with Biden, and especially Democrats, is unfavorable in Sudan for very long history. We flash back the history. So I am not so optimistic, but let us wait and see what will happen actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Dr. Tahir Faki, what is your feeling about this? Now, Biden is actually a de facto president now.
Yeah, I think we have to look at what will benefit Sudan and what will benefit the United States of America. What benefits the United States is that Trump has had the chance and lifted Sudan off the list of terrorism, and that will show that the American system of the U.S. is actually involved in decisions that would make Sudan a country that would be proper for future democracy. The other issue is for Sudan, the money that has been paid, that Trump will say that, look, you people who have suffered as a result of a Sudanese country that had been supporting terrorism, now I got you some money for the victims, which is okay. But if we look at what Biden says, that Trump has actually extracted money and blackmailed a poor country and took 335 million from Sudan. But we have to look at the positive side, that the Democrats under Biden, although the American system will not change, but at least there will be positive moves. We will be ready to have good relation based on bilateral interest, and hopefully we are not going to interfere with the American system, but we want to have a good relation.
Okay, that's very good, gentlemen. I think we covered the 3 subjects which we promised the viewers that we will cover the 3 subjects till we come to the end of this episode of Dialogue Horizon. We hope to see you next week on a different issue about the start of the implementation of the peace agreement. Thank you, dear gentlemen, Dr. Tahir Al-Faki and Dr. Sammani Hanoun, for being with me in this episode. Bye, viewers.